Johannesburg sets the scene for the final round of the 8-race 1998 International Sports Racing Series on the famous Formula One circuit of Kyalami. South Africa's not hosted international racing since the 1993 Grand Prix, and World Sports Car Racing's not been here since 1998. Well, the 4.267-kilometre Transvaal circuit is demanding on transmissions and hard on the visiting drivers at 1,900-metre altitude. Well, Ferrari has won every race so far in 1998, and it's Jean-Pierre Jabouille's JB Guillet's team which is confident of a 7th straight win. Well, beautiful South African summer sunshine here in December. And joining in the ISRS are some visitors this weekend. Wayne Taylor is coming home after winning October's Petit Le Mans race in his Rissi Doyle Ferrari 333 SP. The first ISRS race for the 2-times American champion and partner Belgian Eric van der Poel. The American Dyson, Riley and Scott Ford teams also racing outside the USA for the first time this year, with cars for Dorsey Schroeder, Elliott Swords-Robertson and 1998 American sports car champion James Weaver and Butch Leitzinger. Well, first round winners Didier Tace and Freddie Lienhardt are here with their Lister Ferrari. It's been successful both in Europe and in America, where Belgian Tace won this year's Daytona 24 hours, Sebring 12 hours and Watkins Glen 6 hours, driving for the Moretti team. But Jabouille's 1998 champions are Emmanuel Collard and Vincenzo Sospiri, and they're joined this weekend by Mauro Baldi here at Kyalami, here in the green Ferrari. Champions at the last round, the Le Mans Autumn Cup. Collard won the Petit Le Mans race with Taylor and Van der Poel a month ago, while Sospiri, of course, was the 1995 FIA Formula 3000 champion. Well, Kyalami is not only a high altitude, but it's a high downforce track. Everyone has to make aerodynamic adjustments throughout Friday and Saturday qualifying sessions, preparing for the all-important FINA pole shootout. Well, JB Guillet here. Guillet, the French garage door manufacturers, with this beautiful $1 million Ferrari. They're looking for win number 7. Also amongst newcomers here, Leitzinger, like most, of course, learning the track. Butch Leitzinger, Can-Am champion in America, and his co-driver, James Weaver, the professional sports car champion. Well, there's problems already for Eric van der Poel. A front wheel bearing has put his Ferrari off the track at 240 kilometers an hour, and he limps the number 60 Ferrari back into the pits. But Van der Poel and Wayne Taylor, who's not raced on his home circuit since 1998, when he won here in Group C2, study the damage. It's not too serious, but it certainly gave Tantan a fright. Problems too for John McNeil's Lola Judd, which has a fuel leak, leaving British GT regular Klaas Zwart with a wet seat and petrol fumes in his lungs. The Lola 981, developed from the 1992 Group C car, has the latest evolution Judd V10 Formula One, now stretched out to 4 litres. Well, to get to the base of that fuel leak, McNeil's crew has to take the car to pieces. Problem getting down to these bag tanks. A clutch bearing failure then sidelines the car before the pole shootout. Well, Audi's entering sports car racing officially in 1999, but Fritz Gebhardt has beaten Ingolstadt to the draw, debuting his new Audi 5-cylinder turbo-powered G4 at Kyalami with Stanley Dickens and South African touring car champion Terry Moss. Bizarrely, a South African journalist was allowed to track test the new car Thursday and crashed it, giving the team an all-nighter on Friday. But the Gebhardt Audi is running in the top SR1 class against Ferrari and Riley and Scott. It's limited to 4 litres for turbo cars, 5.1 litres for atmospheric engines, with a minimum weight of 875 kilograms. But Jerome Policand is sharing the Solution F Riley and Scott Ford with another Springbok Trans Am champion, Gary Formato. This is the team run by Philip Gash, which had a best ISRS 3rd with Gash and Anthony Beltoise at Misano earlier this year. South African mobile telephone service Vodacom is sponsoring both the car and the race here this weekend at Kyalami. Also on the bill are historic sports cars and thoroughbred Formula One cars, brought all the way down from Europe. So great great things expected of Tomato and Jerome Policand. Plenty of Riley and Scott. Well, although the SR1 class has been decided, Fabio Mancini and Luca Di Citelli are fighting for the CN division title for 3-litre Alfa Romeo engined cars. Mancini, of course, took a spectacular win in the Vallelunga 6 Hours only 2 weeks ago in their Tampoli. Here's Robin Smith's Matrix, powered by Nissan's Group C twin-turbo, shared with Holland's Menno Schafsma. In fact, at the last moment, the FIA GT Marcus driver had to buy a helmet in Cape Town. Well, the team bought the wrong rear wing to Kyalami, so it's suffering from a lack of downforce. But after a differential change, Matrix finds 5 seconds per lap. Well, it's time for the FINA pole shootout. And the Manil Lola is going to be missing after that clutch failure, but we go on track then with the Repsol Kramer Porsche of Ralph Kelleners. He's showing his car with Prince Alfonso and Thomas Saldana. He qualifies 9th. Qualifying 8th, his sister Augusta Kramer Porsche of Almo Capelli, but Almo's still suffering from a neck injury when he crashed heavily at the Le Mans Autumn Cup. Both these, of course, turbo cars. They should have a bonus being at this altitude because turbo motors make their own atmosphere, but a little bit heavy. Well, the GLV Brums Ferrari of Gianni Lavaggi qualifies in 7th. Lavaggi, of course, winner of the Daytona 24 Hours back in 1995. This car now run by Achim Stroff, formerly of Kramer. Well, 6th fastest, the South African crewed Rissi Doyle Ferrari of Wayne Taylor. Car he's sharing with Eric van der Poel, and Wayne really getting to grips with. He's never raced on this circuit despite being an East Londoner. That's East London, South Africa. Well, the Lister Ferrari of Didier Taste, delayed earlier by broken CV joint, goes out. Well, they lost time setting up, so they can only qualify in that 5th fastest place. So 4th fastest goes to James Weaver in the Dyson, Riley and Scott Ford. James deciding to go out on harder tyres and finding just a little bit tricky on this circuit. They really didn't get the warmth in them, and James would have liked to have had a quicker time. Number 19 car, the Solution F, Riley and Scott, as Jerome Policand. Mike Garton there, the technical director of the ISRS, counting him out for this 1 at a time qualifying. Jerome Policand at the wheel, the man who won at Harama last year for Courage in the final race of the ISRS. .625 brake horsepower from these Ford V8s, matching the Ferrari. Mike Garton counts out the Dyson RNS Ford of American Dorsey Schroeder. Big surprises, Dorsey and Elliot Forbes Robinson deciding to use softer tyres, and he runs 2nd fastest on his first ever visit to the Kyalami circuit. Big surprise, beating James Weaver. Which leaves in pole position, well, not really surprisingly, the JB Guies Ferrari of Emmanuel Collard. 5th pole position for Collard and for Vincenzo Sospiri as Schroeder finishes his flying lap to confirm that 2nd fastest. Out goes the JB Guies Ferrari. Jean-Pierre Jabouille, of course, the owner of this team, and this car after this race will be sold to a Dutch enthusiast, and they've already ordered 2 new 1999 spec 333 SPs. Can anything stop this car? The front wheel bearing failure stopped it in the first race of the year at Paul Ricard, but it's won everything since, including the Le Mans Autumn Cup. Well, after the shootout, I talked to Dorsey Schroeder, 2nd fastest. He'll be starting from the front row.
Thank you. That was a bit of a good lap, I would say. I didn't hold my breath, so I'm glad Kyalami's only this long, not another 2 miles, or I might have expired there. It was fun. It was a good lap. Maybe left the 10th on the table, but I certainly didn't leave a 2nd and 6th 10th, so then that Ferrari is quick.
And Emmanuel Collard on pole.
Going to do everything to win this race. So we start in pole position, and we hope that everything could be right for the race.
And with him, Vincenzo.
We don't have anything to lose, so we will push from the first to the last lap. We are happy to be here all together, 3 drivers from GS and GP. I think this is the celebration race for us, but we will try our best to win again and then to make it 7 in a row. Okay, we can have a little break. Stay with us.
Well, after that break, we'll be back for the start of the final round of the ISRS. Stay with us. Back to Speed World with me, Mark Cole, for the rolling start of the Vodacom ISRS race. Final round of the series ahead, 2 hours, 30 minutes of racing on the 4.26 kilometre Kyalami Grand Prix circuit here in South Africa. Well, the lights are going to go to green and the race is on. Drivers have to use the same tyres as qualifying, and there's 3 mandatory pit stops for driver changes, refuelling or tyre changes ahead. And it's Suspiri who's leading from Dorsey Schroeder in the Dyson Riley and Scott, Gary Formato in the Solution F Riley and Scott, James Weaver, Wayne Taylor and Didier Tace. Well, the slow starting Gianni Lavaggi pushing there at the back of that group. But it's Suspiri who's commanding the front at the moment. Schroeder, Formato, Weaver, then Wayne Taylor in that first of the 2 red Ferraris from Didier Tace, who's caught up already. These Riley and Scott's immediately at home. Remember, they've never ever raced here in South Africa before, any of these cars. It's new territory for everybody, except perhaps for Gary Formato, who really has cut all his racing teeth on this circuit. There is Gary at the wheel of that Vodacom Riley and Scott. Suspiri starting to pull away a little bit. Dorsey Schroeder, great job he's doing, one of the unsung heroes of the American Racing Championships. Didier Tace having a look down the outside there. There is Ralph Kellners, and right behind him, Gianni Lavaggi. Big fight going on there. Well, Lavaggi, the man who won the Daytona 24 hours for the Kramer team, having a good look down the inside of Kellners. Through he goes. He pushes Ralph Kellners out of the way. Kellners himself a Daytona winner in GT1 this year, driving for champion Porsche team. Through the chicanes here at Kyalami. Beautiful circuit. This is the Formula 1 circuit of 1993. But Suspiri it is. Pulling away again. The beautiful V12 Formula 1 engine Ferrari, taken out to 4 litres. James Weaver there, at the back of that little pack. More fighting in the pack behind. Look out for Stanley Dickens, 1989 Le Mans winner for Mercedes in the Gebhardt Audi. There he is, leading Bryce Wilson in the Matrix, the bright orange Matrix. So he's just gone past Jean-Michel Martin in the Elf Lafiliere Courage. Then Luca Riccatelli in the Tampoli. There he is, that little red car behind these two. And then Renier Randaccio in the Spice Cosworth, the yellow car there. It's a Spice that raced here in 1998. It's now got the roof cut off. Oh, and look at that. Randaccio goes right through the inside. Oh, they just touched there. He and Mancini fighting out the second division there. Great racing here. Bryce Wilson, Scottish driver there in Robin Smith's Matrix. And again, Mancini goes back past Randaccio, but this is our race leader, Suspiri. Situation normal for the JB Giesa team with 6 wins. Second is still Schroeder. His third, James Weaver, has now passed Gary Formato for 3rd place. Formato in 4th place. But for Didier Tace, who's still holding off Wayne Taylor, it suddenly goes all wrong. And the number 27 Ferrari's in the pits of a broken drive shaft. Its second transmission failure of the weekend. Their race is over. And after just 7 laps, the team's long trek to South Africa has come to an end. Freddie Lienhardt, car owner there, talking to Didier, but no, that's it, they can't fix it. Sayonara. Well, dear, we've got problems already here. Off the track is Randaccio. He's had a collision with Bryce Wilson. Leader Suspiri is already passing back markers. Lapping already. Jean-Michel Martin makes way for him. That's the 5-time Spa 24 Hours winner. And Almo Capelli is just ahead. Almo is looking in his mirrors, and I'm sure he'll be waving Suspiri through in a moment. There we are, lets him through. Just gives him plenty of space. Well, Suspiri not risking it at this stage. You notice he's got that lead. Almo's waving. There we are, good driving by Capelli. The Italian used to race here in Group C2. There's the Simpson Matrix car. Well, Wilson's in the pits after that collision with Randaccio, the collision that put Randaccio in the gravel. He's cleaning out the front and they'll rejoin. Wayne Taylor now passing the same back markers. And Wayne Taylor, desperate to win his home race here. What a great victory he had this year in the Petit Le Mans race. That really was something, driving with Emmanuel Collard and Eric van der Poel. Now he wants to do it in front of his home crowd. Great shots in the heat here at Kyalami. 35 degrees this afternoon, here up on what they call the high veld. Nearly 6,000 feet altitude. And Wayne Taylor really pushing. Of course, he's 1996 Daytona 24 hours winner. He's followed by Lavaggi, the 1995 Daytona 24 hours winner. Well, Lita Suspiri in the pits. Driver change to Maribaldi, little Maro there in the distinctive blue helm. Oh dear, we've got a problem here. The Centenary of Robin Donovan and Xavier Pompidou's off. That means that Mancini and Riccitelli will be confirmed CN champions. There they are. They've won the championship because their only rival here this afternoon is off in the tire wall. Well, Leader Baldi goes through, passing that number 41 Centenary, firmly stuck in the gravel. But there's still plenty of drama here this afternoon in this ISRS finale, because Almo Capelli is heading for the pits. He has slowed down. He's going to hand his car over to Rocky Augusta, but Capelli has got problems as Maribaldi goes through. Here's Capelli. Oh, he's nodding in the cockpit. He gets out. He's in trouble. And as he gets out of the car, he collapses. He is suffering from exhaustion. The altitude not helping, a neck injury from that crash at the Petit Le Mans, the Le Mans Autumn Cup just a few weeks ago. Oh dear, and Ralph Kellner is also complaining about the problems the altitude is causing, goes over to help his Kramer teammate. Well, Maribaldi is still leading there in the JB Chiesa Ferrari. And here we are, Famato and Policand in third place now behind the 62 Dyson, Riley and Scott of Schroeder and Elliott Forbes Robinson. So great job by Famato. Well, there's Eric van der Poel, twice winner at Sebring, as well as this year's Petit Le Mans, exiting the pits with wheel spin back into the race in third place. So Famato and Policand second at the moment. Well, driver change coming up now. Collard is going to hand over. He's going to take over the number 5 JB Chiesa Ferrari for what hopefully will be its final pit stop of the year. Oh, but they got problems. They cannot restart the car. The starter motor has failed. And the team is going to push the car away into the garage. Its second retirement this year and no win, number 7. Well, of course, all this means is now that Elliott Forbes Robinson is race leader for Dyson in the Riley and Scott Ford. He's 55 years old and he started racing in 1968, still going strong. But he still has to make his final handover to Dorsey Schroeder. So EFR pushing on now. This is the man who won at Daytona last year. He then won at Sebring. And he looked like at one stage he was going to win the Professional Sports Car Championship until he eventually got ousted by Butch Leitzinger. Well, that car is not restarting. It's all over for the JB Chiesa Ferrari. And all the time, Elliott Forbes Robinson is being caught by Eric van der Poel. EFR pushing on. His first ever race was at Road Atlanta, and he won it, can you believe that, in 1968. Here comes Eric van der Poel, just flinging that Ferrari through the chicane here at Kyalami. There, Jerome Policand at the wheel of that Vodacom Riley and Scott. EFR comes into the pits now. They have to refuel, and he loses the lead to Eric van der Poel. Butch Leitzinger now in the other Dyson car in third place. He and James Weaver have been delayed by a slow operating refueling rig. But look at this, Jerome Policand now flying, and after lapping Gianni Lavaggi, he's got a big fight coming up with race leader Eric van der Poel. Lavaggi makes room. Well, he's supposed to make room because he's being lapped a moment. Yeah, Lavaggi keeps over to the side, and through goes Jerome Policand. The long way around. Lavaggi is not giving him any space through the Pennzoil curves down to Nashua corner. Back markers now blocking everything. And here's the fight now. It's Polikand against Van der Poel. Jeroen Polikand, that win last autumn in the ISRS at Jarama, now pushing the race leader. This is the gap after 2 hours and 15 minutes of racing. He's got a loose flapping rear body wear. He had a collision with the Matrix Nissan earlier on, but it doesn't seem to be stopping him. Oh, he tries to go around the outside of Tantam, but Eric is not giving way at the moment. Eric Van der Poel in the Wayne Taylor Toshiba Ferrari, holding him off. Oh, and Polikand really seems to have the legs of the Ferrari at this circuit. This V8 pushing out 650 horsepower, a little bit more than the Ferrari goes through, takes the lead. So Jeroen Polikand becomes a race leader. It's all a little bit academic though, because Van der Poel still has to make a final handover to Wayne Taylor. And that, of course, will let Jeroen Polikand keep the lead. He's now hard-earned. Here he comes into the pits. Eric Van der Poel, Wayne Taylor with his seat, waiting to get in. They're refueling, they're retiring. Meanwhile, Butch Leitzinger into second place, and the 61 Dyson Riley and Scott, the car he's sharing with James Weaver. So after their refueling problems and mistakenly choosing hard tyres for this race, they've got back into second. There's Wayne Taylor back out in the race. He's got Elliot Thorpe Robinson in fourth place, right on his tail. But all eyes at the moment on Polikand, race leader on his last lap. The winner of the ISRS Jarama last year for Courage, and now looks like going to be winner for Riley and Scott, the first ever Riley and Scott victory in the ISRS, with South African hero Gary Famato. They get the checkered flag after 90 laps, and the South Africans just go wild. So what a victory for the race sponsor Vodacom in the car that they're backing. It's Riley and Scott, and James Weaver the first to congratulate Thierry Lecourt. Well, happy faces down at Mancini's Tampoli pit. They're CN champions. There's Riccitelli and Mancini. So Polikand comes in and he embraces his manager Thierry Lecourt. Well, up on the podium, CN champions Mancini and Riccitelli, now adding to their Vallelunga 6 hours win. What a great performance by these drivers there with Denny Zardo, who helped them out this weekend. And here come our race winners, Jeroen Polikand and Gary Famato. What a great day for Gary Famato. All he's done in the past was a season of Formula 3000, fairly undistinguished, but now winning an ISRS race. Well, there a flashback of Polikand as we talked to Polikand about how the race went.
Yeah, it's a big surprise because for me and Gary it was the first race of the year. First time in this car, and we won. It's like a dream.
Gary, great for you as well. Formula 3000 in Europe, but maybe you never dreamed you'd win an international sports car race first time.
Oh, well, we had a bit of a bad season there, and first time out is great. And thanks to the Solutionaire team, Thierry Lecourt, everybody, and thanks to such a great teammate that taught me a lot this weekend, and it's been really good. Thanks very much. Thanks to Vodacom as well for giving me the opportunity.
Fabio Mancini, Luca Riccitelli, congratulations, CN champion now.
We're very happy of this European champion. Good car, good team, a good driver.
Well, that's the ISRS, and in a moment Ben Edwards will be back with karting from Cologne.